Rabbi say, welcome back to the next installment of Shomer Aveda, Shir Chaf, Part 2. Again, make sure you understand all the videos up until this point before continuing. There really would be no point in continuing unless you understand those shiurim clearly. Now, we're going to be beginning on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph, on the second line from the top, and the last word on the line. Now, just to recap where we're holding right now, we have a brisa, and the brisa says two statements. Number one, it says that if the Shomer Aveda returns it to the owner's house, he doesn't need to deal with it anymore, which would seem to indicate that if it gets stolen, the Shomer Aveda is patur, because he fulfilled his obligation, doesn't need to deal with it. Sounds like he is finished. But then the second statement the brisa says is that if it gets stolen or lost, he's responsible for it, which clearly indicates that if it got stolen, he'd be chayev. So the question now is, which one is it? Is he chayev for if it got stolen, or is he patur? So the Gemara now is going to continue with Rav Yosef's answer. So Rav Yosef answers like this: Maya, what does it mean? What? Mai means what, but what does it mean? Nigneva, that it was stolen, oy avda, or lost. Lav, does it not mean nigneva if it was stolen mi beisai, from his house, the finder's house, ve'avda, and it was lost mi beisai, from the finder's house. Rav Yosef says the only way to understand this contradiction, is it chayev or patur? The only way to understand this contradiction would be by answering in a very simple way that these two cases, case number one and case number two, are talking about two different cases. Case number one is talking about if it got stolen from the owner's house. The guy found the ball, returned it to the owner's house, and left it there. If he left it there, he's patur. Case number two is talking about if he did not give it back yet, and it got stolen from his house. He took it home, and it got stolen from his house, he is chayev. And now it makes sense. The first statement says if he returns it to the owner's house, he is patur because he fulfilled his obligation. Second statement is when before he returned it, he took it home to his house and he is chayev. That is the only way to understand this brisa. So again, case number one would be if the fellow found the ball, returned it to the owner's house, went home, and then it got stolen. So in that case, he would be patur, right? If he returns to the owner's house, he's patur. Case number two is a different case. He finds the ball, takes it home, and then it gets stolen from his home. In that case, we are going to say that he is chayev. That if he didn't return it yet, and it got stolen from the finder's house, he's chayev. So these are two separate cases. The first case is talking about it got stolen from the owner's home, and the second case is when it got stolen from the finder's home. And now it makes sense why if you returned it, you're patur. If you didn't return it yet, and it's still in your possession, you are chayev. Now, if this is true, that if you didn't return it yet, and it got stolen from the finder's house, he's chayev. So let's just get this. So here's our Shomer Aveda, right? Now, you're telling me he's chayev if it gets stolen from his house. So if he's chayev, then it must mean that he has the din of a paid watchman, a shomer sachar, which would then mean that Rav Yosef is correct, that a Shomer Aveda has the status of a shomer sachar, a paid watchman. So now Rav Yosef just proved that a Shomer Aveda has the halacha of a paid watchman. Now, again, back to our chart over here. We have two statements in the brisa, and one statement seems to say that the finder is patur, and the other one seems to indicate that the finder is chayev. And we answer them that the first case that seems to say that the finder is patur is talking about when you returned it to the owner's house. The second statement that said he's chayev is talking about when he did not return it to the owner's house. He took it home. He doesn't know who the owner is, or he didn't have a chance yet to return it to the owner, and it got stolen from his home. In that case, he would be chayev if it gets stolen from his home. Now, if this is true, that if it got stolen from the finder's house, he is chayev, then that means that he has the status of a paid watchman, which will then lead us to say that Rav Yosef has disproven Rabbah. Rav Yosef just proved that he has the status of a paid watchman. Now the question is, how is Rabbah going to answer this? And stay tuned for part number 3, where Rabbah comes back and explains the Brisa in a way that would work according to him.